Hope people can hear us.
Hello.
Hello, people out there in Onyx Pathland. Welcome to session one of Realms of Pugmire, The Empty Halls. If you haven't watched it by now, our session zero is. Well, as after this stream ends, you'll be able to watch it on Twitch, and it should be going onto youtube.com/, at the Onyx Path at some point in the presumably very near future. We are all European. We have all been blasted by heat for the past couple of weeks, and I think we're all probably pretty tired right now. Why is OBS dropping frames? OBS! So we may not run the full 3 hours, but that's fine. I'm dealing with sertraline withdrawals. So let's have my cast introduce themselves. Alan, if you could introduce yourself and your character, please.
Yes, so I'm Alain Girard. I wrote a lot of community content for Scarlands and a little bit for Pugmire, so that you can find on Canis Minor. And my character is called Iris. She is a lizard, so which is one of the new, let's say, species that you can find in the Pugmire Unleashed book. And I am an alchemist, so I cast spells using salt of all kinds, which is, if you are a backer of the Kickstarter, in the preview, like this today or yesterday's preview, it's the exact class that I'm going to play today.
Bliss.
Hello, I am Bliss Steele. She, her. I pretty much these days only do these actual plays around here, around these parts. My character is Maya Pyrenees. She is a runner free dog hunter. She's a big, floofy white doggy that likes to hang out in the mountains and hunt big game.
Hell yeah. And Josie.
Hi, my name is Josie, and I shall be playing Beretta the gun dog Borzoi because a long face is really good for aiming.
Just aim down the snoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Ryan. I'll be the guide today. I'm a contributing writer on Pugmire Unleashed, which is currently on Backerkit right now. It's tariff free, and it's an experiment on Onyx Path's part. But the book is solid, and as Alan alluded to, if you back it, you can get you'll get manuscript previews. By the time that the campaign ends, you'll have the the manuscript 90-ish% complete, no art, no layout, just a lot of PDFs. But it is everything you need to you will need to use the material in your own games. Obviously, as we are running this to support the Backerkit campaign, we're going to be demoing some of the new material. But the adventure that I'll be running my players through is not in the book at all. It is a completely original adventure. So there's no spoilers for the adventures within the book itself. For the purposes of this actual play, the three of you, or the four of you, unfortunately, our fourth player is not able to join us right now, being a good dog elsewhere. For the purposes of this actual play, the four of you are members of Pan's Pioneers. Iris, you are presumably freelance, rather than, or you. I mean, I'm happy to say you're a formal member. It's up to you. Would you prefer to be a freelance member or a formal member of the Pioneers?
Freelance. I
Fantastic.
think it fits better the character.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to, ride over your opinions. For those who do not know, Pan's Pioneers is a crown-sponsored adventuring company. Essentially, it has loads of ranks, tiers within it. But the gist of it is that the player characters report to an experienced pioneer who is there, who either like retired or only goes out rarely now because of their age. And the pioneers go out into the world and they uncover artifacts, they do good deeds, generally help people to survive. Because the unseen are everywhere, and man left many dangers behind. Our adventure starts in the very small village of Vincensford. This is in the north of the kingdom. built along the banks of the river Babel, one of the many rivers that flow into the main river that leads all the way down to the Acid Sea. And it is a natural crossing point. It is said that this is where King Vincent first crossed the river Babel. Time being what it is, the truth of that will likely never be known, but it's a good story nonetheless. Vincent'sford itself is a small farming community, mostly vegetable farming with some livestock. It's calm, it's peaceful, and it's very much in danger right now. 3 weeks ago, your company was dispatched to investigate why the river Babel itself had dried up. 2 weeks ago, you arrived to a state of lethargic confusion. The villagers knew something was wrong, they were concerned, but ultimately they didn't care that much. They live far enough to the north that it rains reasonably often, so their crops were still getting the water they needed. Their wells were not running dry. Everything was proceeding as it was, minus the silence from the river itself. 1 week ago, having ascertained that the immediate cause was not in the environs around the village itself, you set off into the mountains far north of Pugmire. The realm, not the city. Which is where you found the Storm Demon. A Storm Demon is a howling maelstrom of elemental energy and rage. You have never encountered one before. Looking at it, I, as a guide, do not often like telling my players how their characters feel, but these things are terrifying. They make the hackles rise on the back of your neck. They make your heart pound in your chest until you can hear it in your ears. They are 5 feet tall hurricanes comprised of elemental energy, with the barest hint of eyes lurking within their obscured center. As the name suggests, it is widely believed they are demons. However, the unpredictable and chaotic nature of their creation, origination, no one is entirely sure how these things come into being, and their behavior means that it is very rare for there to be advance warning of one attacking. In your search to figure out what has gone on with the River Babel, you have uncovered enough information to deduce that this particular storm demon literally consumed the wellspring. It is a mass of water and stones, bits of tree that it's picked up along the way. It's a whirlpool on land, and it is moving inexorably towards Vincent'sford. You are currently traveling back towards the village. You can travel faster than the storm demon can or wants to, and you have enough time to get there to warn them. Right now, you are on a ridge line overlooking the village, and you can see the patchwork fields, you can see the villagers farming, you can see the smoke rising dreamily from the chimneys. What do you do?
We have to tell them. We need to tell the village to evacuate, to bring them to safety.
Are you...
We...
is this Iris thinking aloud to Maya and Beretta?
Yeah, it's Iris trying to convince her companions of the course of action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you glance kind of back the way you've come, you can see this erratic dust cloud that is tracing the course of the storm demon's progress through the wilderness. It is, collision course with this unsuspecting village. Why don't we get some dice rolling going? Could I get a cunning check, please, from everyone? If you have proficiency in notice, your experience bonus does apply to this roll.
3.
6.
Bonuses. Oh well. Let's roll. I rolled a whopping 18 for some reason.
Okay, good. One of you saw it. So to quote a friend of mine, Iris and Maya, you do not see what you do not see. Beretta, as Iris is suggesting that you need to go down, you need to tell the villagers about the trouble behind you, and you kind of glance that way, and then you look forwards down at the village again. You can see in the distance on the opposite side of the village a very similar looking dust cloud tracing an erratic course across the low plains and grasslands on that side.
So why not add another storm demon? Or is it similar to storm demon, right?
That's what people call them.
I point at the other thing I have noticed with my blunderbuss. We might have more company than we expect.
Beretta, I don't think you can shoot that from where we are.
I am aware this is short range, and as much as you can cock a blunderbuss, I make a somewhat cocking motion with it.
I mean,
But
if it's a flintlock, you can cock the flint.
So is this second demon going also towards the village?
Once it's pointed out, yes, it seems unerringly straight, let's say.
Sheesh. Sucks to be these people in this village. How long do we think it's going to take to get here?
That would be an intellect check, please.
Yeah.
10.
22.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
Taking into account all of the available information that you have, Iris, you think you have maybe about the same length of time as the one behind you. It's half a day at most.
Okay. That's enough time to evacuate.
Yeah, we evacuate, right?
Yeah, we gotta go sound the alarm.
Yeah. But we need
I
to
have a very good way of sounding an alarm. Just give me the word. Please.
Just shoot in the air, but not.
Guess that'll get their attention.
Yeah, well, last time you did that, I didn't really. I mean, well, yeah, it will make everyone panic, but
We need to make sure they all go in one direction, though.
Well, I have an
Not-
idea. We first ask them to evacuate, and I can always, if they are not willing, convince them to evacuate.
Okay. Let's let's do this. But where would we tell them to go? Is there maybe a cave nearby where they could hide, or
in your initial exploration of the surrounding area, you did discover a series of ruined buildings and the foothills about a quarter of a day's travel. So for ease, let's say that you're traveling due south. You're not traveling exactly due south, but for ease. And So one of the storm demons is coming due south, the other one's coming due north. They're going to meet where this village is. You did find some, and again, for ease, the river flows north-south. You found some ruins to the northeast.
Okay.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
And
Head to
I
the ruins.
dart towards the village.
Okay.
Should we go to some kind of like mayor's house or something to see like maybe if they have some kind of protocol
Yeah, so you
already in place?
have a couple of options. There is a village older dog, ALDER, just the nominal kind of like de facto leader of the community. There is a warning bell in the village square itself. It's old, corroded. It's a leftover from the War of Cats and Dogs that has been just left to rot, essentially, as it's no longer needed. Or there's the old standby of there is a tavern, and you're pretty sure that anything you say in the tavern will spread like wildfire.
I think we should go to the older dog.
Okay.
What you guys think?
Sounds good by me.
Yeah.
Someone who can do some better talking should maybe take the lead. Because it's not me.
Oh. Fun.
What is that, presence?
Yes, yeah, that's the charisma stat.
Yeah, I don't have any of that either. But
Greta
know.
has one presence, but that's mostly intimidation.
Well, I so my character has a boon on presence checks to make friends. So maybe that could kind of be considered as making friend or blending with local culture.
yeah.
I mean, it's I guess it's for the guide to decide, but
Well, so I'll turn this back on you. Have you interacted with the older dog before, on your way through?
probably I think probably not, because while I respect dogs' beliefs,
Mhm.
I don't share them, so I don't feel it would be appropriate for me to go specifically to the altar dog, unless it would be for an official reason. But if it's just for, let's say, religious services, I don't think I would have done that.
In which case, yes, your boon would apply here, because you're trying to make that good first impression to get the old dog to listen to you. You know where their house is. It was pointed out to you when you arrived the first time. Your briefing was not really like, go there and introduce yourself to the local people. It was go there, fix the problem, deal with it any way you want. And from everything that you heard from the villagers, the tavern, they're fair but keep themselves distanced from most of the village folk. But you know that the small one-story wattle and daub, not wattle and daub, that's wrong. Plastered, there we go. One-story plaster-fronted building, kind of just to one side of the village green, which is where the bell is, the warning bell, is the older dog's residence, and you can knock on the door, and there's a momentary pause, and then you hear from somewhere deep within the house, 1 second, and then 4 steps as someone hurriedly and heavily makes their way through the house, and the door is opened, and this is the chunkiest looking spaniel you have ever seen. This is You know, to use like real world parallels, if you've seen The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug, the Mayor of Longtown, that kind of faded grandeur is the wrong word, but he's clearly trying to portray himself as wealthier than he actually is, and you can see that the clothes that he's wearing at one time, yes, they were fine, but they have been hastily repaired at points. There are patches. There are places where the pattern doesn't quite match, even though the stitching is neat, and the older dog's fur is slightly greasy, patchy in places. He enjoys the good life, perhaps to the detriment of his own health.
Mhm.
Okay. I think that he should shed his own skin from time to time, but I don't say that because it's not very polite to say that to a non-reptile or to a stranger.
That's absolutely fair. So it just kind of squints at you, clearly short-sighted and not wearing any kind of corrective lenses.
Hi, hello. I'm really sorry to interrupt you this beautiful afternoon. I don't think we have met. I'm Iris. You may have seen me in the village already. There's something that I need to tell you, and we need to act quite fast. If you look over there in the mountain, you will see that there is a storm demon coming in. And if you look at the other side here on the plain, there is another storm demon coming in, and they are both going right here in this beautiful town. And we need to move the people because I don't know if you have heard the story. So I start telling a very short story about a reptile tribe that was in the path of two different creatures. Then I look at the dog and I realize that it's a little bit too long to get my point across. So quickly, we need to move everyone away and quickly as possible. Do you think you could help us to do that?
It kind of leans out of the house, squinting even more against the bright, like mid-afternoon sunlight, and looks blearily in the direction of the mountains, blearily in the direction of functionally Pugmire. There's a storm demon, you say? Two of them coming here? Why?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh no,
Okay.
my internet connection's unstable. OBS is fine.
yeah, I think you just dropped packets entirely, OBS, Zoom, everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
But you're back. Yay.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened there because I am plugged into the Ethernet and my VPN is off.
Lag spikes happen.
They do. Anyway.
Anyways.
That storm demon, you say, here, of all places?
Yes, two of them.
Well, yes, that is
Quickly,
clearly
just have a few hours.
very, very concerning.
Yeah, but first we need to put people in safety. There is a ruin over there, you know, the old castle or village. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me the story of these ruins later. I would love to hear it, but I think it would be perfect to shelter people from these demons who will destroy everything in their path.
I don't know. I was halfway through my lunch, you see. Do you think I could wait till after I've eaten?
I lower my blunderbuss from my shoulder to my paw. I don't think storm demons will wait for you to finish your lunch.
Okay. Let's, Iris, if you want to make a I forget it's persuade. I was like, it's not persuasion. I know it's not persuasion. It's persuade. So if you make a presence check, and if you're proficient in persuade, you can add your experience bonus to it.
Yes, I'm not proficient, but I have the chameleon trick, which gives me a boon on making friends or blending with local culture. Would that apply there?
Yeah, sure, go with it. So that's it's advantage on the roll.
So that's a whooping 5.
Amazing.
Are you sure you're rolling d20s, Alain?
Yes, yes, yes.
I just want to point out that I went through your character sheets and Beretta's got the highest presence score.
It's only intimidation.
In that Beretta has a presence score.
I mean, I clearly I spent too much time telling a useless story.
Yeah, you saw his eyes just glazing over, clearly just thinking about the food that he's presumably left on the table to see what the problem at the door was. So I had lowered the DC to account for the difficulty, sorry, to account for Beretta's help and your boon, but it's not a 5. Unfortunately, is not going to cut it. So he just kind of blinks almost owlishly at you. I don't respond well to threats of violence. Good day, and just slams the door in your face.
Can I try to put a paw in between the door, even though it's gonna hurt like a bitch?
Sure, let's call that an agility test. So
Perfect.
if agility is one of your marked skills, you do have advantage on. You have a boon on this roll.
Yes, I
I also want to
have to.
apologize to the viewers and my players. I've been doing a lot of 5e writing recently, and it's hard to get out of that headspace.
That is a 19. That
Yep.
is 15 plus 4.
You take 1 stamina of
Sure.
bashing,
Noting
I
down.
think it is. But your paw is in that door.
I make sure that I make at least one eye contact with the old dog still. And go, this is not a threat of violence, this is consequences of actions. Get the people out of here, otherwise lives will be lost. And I won't cause it, but you will be indirectly guilty.
There is a moment, like just a drawn out pause, where you can see him very slowly figuring out if it's worth his time to kick your paw out of the way and shut the door again, or just comply with what you're saying. Yes, just well. Like his ears flop, his tail droops. Just go ring the bell. Ring the bell. I don't care anymore.
Jeez, we were gonna do that anyway. Thanks for your permission. Thought maybe
I
you could
hope-
help.
I hope you have the day you deserve. And I take my paw out of the door.
And I go ring the bell.
Yep, you can go ring the bell, and as the first like surprisingly melodious peals from this rusting bell ring out. Rust is the wrong word. Verdigreed bell ring out over across the nearby countryside. He closes the door in Beretta's face, and you hear him calling for someone, presumably a servant, just to pack his stuff. And a few minutes later, the first of the villagers start making their way to the village green, and there's a small crowd forming, just kind of staring at Iris as she rings the bell, until you judge that most of the adults in the village are present now and just kind of staring expectantly at you.
I think I look at Maya and Beretta, like not really sure of what is the actual etiquette in dog country, but what to do and how to address these people.
Look, Maya, I don't know about your background, but I have a military background. That might help in bringing some structure.
Yeah, man. Bark at him. Tell him where to go.
Attention! It has come to our attention that 2 storm demons are coming in from both this side and that side, converting here. If you value your life, we would recommend you follow us to the ruins where you can take shelter.
Okay, so there's no explicit rules for this that I can recall within the realms of Pugmire itself, but we're going to treat this as a group skill check from 4th edition. You're always going to get to the ruins with the villagers. The question is how successfully that happens. Just so that we're all aware of the stakes in front of us. A group skill check, over half of you need, or like half or more of you need to succeed at dice rolls to pass it, and you will get 1 dice roll. So my question to you, Josie, is: do you want this to be the first roll of like, because you're going to need to make a persuade check either way, right? To a presence check, sorry, to see how well they believe you. Do you want that to be the first roll of the group skill check to get them started, or do you want to start the skill check after that? I guess that's a party decision.
Before that, I do have rank has its privileges. That's a soldier trick. I should look up the exact wording.
I think it's, you can boss like military figures around if they would respect your previous rank, and you might know people.
That's a royal card, and the player spends fortune. She can declare that a previously unknown non-player character, soldier, or other military official is an old friend on good terms with the dog. Okay. That is one thing. And if I could at least, I can always try, because half of playing a tabletop RPG is trying to bullshit the game master in rolling something that you're good at. Instead of persuade, intimidate, because I do have a massive blunderbuss.
Yeah, no. So to which I will reply, you don't have to bullshit me to let you roll anything, as long as you give me the flimsiest reason you can think of. That is fine by me. It will just alter the outcome of the roll. Like persuade, they will probably do things in a much more orderly fashion. If you're putting the fear of man into them, they're gonna rush, and it might make things harder down the line.
True.
They
It's
also
like-
may react less well if you fail the roll.
I guess persuade it is. How much fortune do we have?
You start with 2. Although, to be fair, I'm going to award you an additional fortune just because you shoved your paw in the door, even knowing it was probably going to hurt a lot.
Ow!
Hurt.
How does fortune work?
So your background trick allows you to spend fortune to take some minor narrative control. You can spend it in a couple of other ways as well. It's all you ask the group if they're okay with you using it, because it's a shared resource. But you can reroll any 1 die and choose the higher result. It's not the same as having a boon. It is a reroll. If you're a spellcaster, you can spend fortune instead of spell points. You can interrupt the initiative and take your turn immediately. You can take 1 kind of action at any time. So an action, a move action, supplemental action, reflexive action. If a trick says it requires the expenditure of fortune, or anything else that's marked as happening if fortune is spent in the game text itself.
Are you two okay with me spending the fortune I just earned for rank as its privileges so I can have an NPC listen to me?
I was about to do something very similar, so yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, you can also go ahead,
No,
Anna,
go
if you
ahead.
prefer.
It's fine.
Okay.
I think it's in the current turn of event, it makes more sense for
Okay. Then I will spend 1 fortune for a rank has its privileges, and recognize someone in the crowd, probably.
Yep. Let's say that Mary Alsatian retired here after a long and illustrious career.
I declare that, the whole having to flee to the ruins and everything. And I look expectantly at my, I guess, old friend or something. with the eyes of things need to get moving now.
Okay. She nods. So we'll treat this as you have a boon on the roll, and regardless of if you succeed or fail, at least a portion of the village will listen to Mary Alsatian as well and just start in an orderly fashion evacuating.
All right, I'll roll my persuade.
As a party, do you want this to be the start of the group skill check or like the thing that initiates it? Sorry, the first roll of the group skill check or the thing that starts it? If it is the thing that starts it, it means that Beretta can react later in the skill check to do something else.
Okay. Is there something that you're good at, Beretta, that could be useful later?
Shooting.
Yeah, but
Intimidation if they don't go fast enough, I guess.
going fast, if you're only going fast by yourself, it doesn't really help the group as a whole. I
mean,
feel that
if they barely move, it's better to intimidate them to do it badly than to just have them not do it.
yeah, fair enough. So I guess this could be the check that initiates the group test.
Okay.
Okay.
And I roll with a boon, correct?
You have a boon on the roll. The difficulty is, let's say, 13.
That is presence. I have a 14.
Hell yeah. So the crowd immediately around Mary Alsatian kind of notices the shared look between the two of you and the fact that you do seem to know each other and that she seems to respect you and believe what you're saying. And as she she leans to say something to the person in the crowd next to her, and they say something to the crowd next to them, and it passes out in a ripple of, you can assume like that you can trust what this dog is saying. That if they're saying danger is coming, regardless of whether or not you personally believe storm demons even exist and that there are two of them heading this way, something is coming, and it is better to listen to this dog than not. So that message ripples out through the crowd, and she nods again, like that the message has been heard, and that she will. She's trying to convey essentially that she will do what she can to support you in this, and to help keep the villagers safe. Behind you, from the older dog's house, you just hear a lot of banging as like things are getting knocked over and as things are being shoved in haste, grabbed in haste. The rest of the village, it's not fast by any stretch of the imagination. Like, they're not going home just grabbing whatever they can reach. It is a very measured evacuation. That they're gathering everything they need, like food, traveling supplies, and I'm just going to roll a d4. Only takes them an hour before they congregate back on the village green, and this time pretty much everyone that you've seen in the village is here. While you're waiting, you saw some people kind of run out to the farms to tell the people who are still working the fields about the problem and that they need to come back now because something bad is going to happen and they need to leave. And only an hour later, there is a village full of people, including children and old folk, kind of just staring expectantly at you. The vibe is very much, we're here, now what? The older dog still hasn't emerged.
Let's go without it.
Right, yeah. Well, let's move.
Yeah.
It might be an idea for you, Maya, to scout ahead a little bit.
Yeah. I'll take the lead and I will scout ahead, just in case.
Fantastic.
All right.
Do you have anything that would help? I mean, I know obviously your class is kind of built around scouting, but is there anything you would like to use to to scout for this evacuation?
I have no nature as a skill, but that's pretty much all I can think of right now.
Okay.
And I also have natural explorer, which is specific to mountains. I don't think we're on mountains right now.
You're heading into mountains, so it would apply.
All right.
What does natural explorer do?
It is double XP bonus on all cunning rolls relating to mountains, including the survive skill, which I
Well,
also have.
Happily, I was going to ask for survive or no nature. So
Notch.
please make a cunning roll and add double your experience bonus to it.
Oh my goodness. I just rolled a natural one.
Oh no! Would you like to spend 1 fortune to re-roll your natural one?
Should I? We only have 2.
Yes.
You only
Yeah.
have 2,
I
but you need to
we
pass
can
at
earn
least
more.
2 rolls to get there safely, let's say.
Everybody falls into a giant hole. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't see that.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
look out for... Never mind.
Oh. All right, let's try that again.
Looney Tunes style, like in the air for a little bit, realizing you're falling and then falling down.
Good old coyote time.
14?
14? It's good enough. You set off ahead of the main bulk of the party, and I'm assuming Iris and Beretta are keeping the villagers together and as safe as you can while traveling through the foothills towards the mountains to the north east. Fortunately, with a 14, that is 1 success in your favor. Because there are 3 of you, you need 2. And you notice... which skill would you have used for that? No nature or survive?
Survive.
Fantastic. So you notice a couple of times along the way where the strange behavior of the storm demon consuming the river as it did has resulted in the banks of the river itself being quite prone to erosion and things of that nature. And there are a couple of spots where you identify likely landslips. And you do, in fact, as you kind of reach the more or less halfway mark, where you kind of reaching the base of some of the more protruding mountains, you do notice a ravine. Like at the moment you're about to kind of step into it because of a thick layer of brush. You know the path won't lead the rest of the villagers this way. It's more of a, hey, is there anything hiding over here kind of search. And that you know that if the villagers are called upon to hide for whatever reason, this is not a place to hide. People will get hurt, maybe even die, and you kind of peer over the edge of it, you know, the rocks skittering down into the darkness, and it's deep.
All right, let's go around this.
So you get to the half. The rest of the villagers catch up as you kind of realize, are signposting where not to tread, essentially, the safe route through the mountains, and you start heading off into the foothills, and you've got maybe 2 hours before you reach the ruins, and one of the villagers looks back, and you can see in the distance the 2 dust clouds are converging very rapidly on the soft smudge of Vincent'sford itself. And that's when one of the elderly people, a lot of them have been kind of put in wagons, essentially, carts, whatever was to hand, that would make it easier on the old folk and the kids, puppies, because these are all dogs. But one of them kind of looks back and, my home, my life spent in that house, and then it's kind of just like starts gently bopping the person pulling the wagon with the horse pulling the wagon with their walking stick. Take me back! I refuse to die. Not in my house. And you all have a general vibe that you can all pick up on the general vibe. Sorry, that a couple of the other old folk are listening to this.
I say, Beretta, now's the time to be a dick to these guys. They're being stupid.
Well, it is first because I think it is and Miranda kind of have like the good cop, bad cop thing going.
Yeah.
So maybe Edis can convince them in a gentler way that life is worth living even when you're old. You
Yeah, isn't it
shouldn't
better not to die?
you
Yeah,
shouldn't die because your property is damaged, you capitalist dogs.
I was thinking anyway to that I would stay with the old and the children during the trip to help them if they are hurt or something. And I was thinking about casting Bless regularly because to help them cross maybe some difficult terrain or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. There have been patches where you've had this heart-stopping moment of, is the cart going to get stuck between these rocks and things of that nature? And your magic has helped the villagers keep them moving rather than having to leave the carts and most of their heavier good possessions behind and just carrying the old folk.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do, team, I think we have just one fortune left.
Currently, yeah.
Okay, if I use it to activate my trick. It's a very similar trick to Beretta's, so I can declare a non-player character, someone that I know or someone that, or who knows someone that I have treated as a medic in the past. So are you fine with that?
Yep.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So I think I look at the elderly person who was barking at their home, and I think I recognize them. It's I helped maybe their son or daughter back in Pugmire, and I cured them from a fever, and so I recognize them, and I say, hey, you know what? You're I don't know what their name, but I call them by the name. I think I met your daughter, and she told me what a wonderful dog you are, and you know, this home, it's full of memories, but even if the demons here destroy it, you know, it's still your home and it will live in your heart, and maybe you will rebuild it later, and you know, will maybe visit your daughter in Pugmire, and she will come and help you rebuild later. But right now, we need to let it go, and you cannot die here. She wants to see you again. I know that.
Okay. Make a presence check. You have a boon on the roll.
Yeah. And I hope that this time I won't roll a 5. 19.
Hey.
I was kind of
There
half
you
expecting
go.
4. Because we've all been
Well-
there, and if someone says they haven't, they're lying.
Yeah. The second dice rolled the 1, so
Take the
Oh.
19.
Goodness.
There's a long stretch of time that, in this context, in the situation in which you're having this conversation, it seems too long. Like, an age of the world is passing as this dog makes up her mind whether she's going to listen to you or try to get to her back to her home. But in reality, only a couple of moments pass. But that moment of indecision on her part stretches almost to infinity, and then snaps back, and you can see the decision made that, you know, you're right. Whatever is destroyed can be rebuilt, and as that decision is clearly made, there is the sound of two angry gods warring from the direction of the village, and you can see flashes of strange lightning going up to the sky, and you can hear unearthly screams of damned souls as these storm demons appear to be tearing into each other.
I hold the elderly dog in my arm to console and comfort her. And I think I'll stay the rest of the trip with her and listen to her stories.
Okay. That is that was your second success of the group check, so you have succeeded overall. You're still going to have the third obstacle, of course, but it will have no meaningful effect on the outcome. I mean, it can if you want, Josie.
No. I know better than that.
As you follow the trail that the three of you have found on your initial exploration of the area, much as it did the first time, it stands out to you that now this is nothing more than an animal track. It's a very thin patch of ground leading into the mountains where the grass has been worn short. But here and there you can see large stones sticking up at odd angles out of the grass, and the floor beneath your feet is every now and then just paving stone with a very thin layer of topsoil on top of it. History, as it is everywhere in the realms, is very much around you and still raising more questions than it answers. The three of you know that before you reach the ruin, you will encounter a very old, incredibly unstable looking stone bridge. How do you deal with that? Bearing in mind you have about 15 families, 5 of whom are pulling very heavily laden carts with, well, their horses are, you know, pulling the carts. But
I am looking at one of my tricks called Traverse. I do not know. It's my body, no one else's. God dang it. Well, I could try to get to the other side, and I have 50 feet of rope. Maybe reinforce it just a little bit. Have a physically capable dog do the hard work first, and then try to assist the others.
Okay. Yep. So there's no traverse roll required. The bridge is absolutely going to take the weight of one lone dog. And will, however, ask for a cunning roll to tie as secure knot, as there is a chance of drama happening if you fail. If you are proficient in survive, that your experience bonus would apply to the roll.
If you want, I don't know who will make the check. Is it one of us or one of the?
Anyone can do it. The group check is finished because you have all the successes.
I can bless you with salt, so that you can get 1d4 on your.
I rolled a 15. I am rolling incredibly well, and I am scared for what's gonna happen.
The dice.
That's never a good
They
sign.
turn.
Yeah.
You cross the bridge, and the wind whistles through the cracks in the stonework where the mortars just worn away over time. And the bridge doesn't move beneath you, but it looks like it should, if that makes sense. Like at any moment, you could put a paw wrong, and the chunk of masonry that you're standing on could just collapse and fall into the chasm beneath you. But you cross the bridge, and on the other side there is a sturdy, lichen-covered stone column, rough-hewn. Presumably it was finely hewn in years long forgotten now, but time has worn it down with its soft and inevitable caresses. Column with the rusted end of some sort of arm. No, we do not. But you can tie the rope around that in such a way that it will not. Should the worst happen, you don't think this column's going to fall over at the very least, okay. And you're pretty confident in the solidity of the knots you have created. A rope needs to be tied at both ends to be useful, however. So who's tying the rope at the other end? On the, let's say, the village side.
The survive?
Yep.
I can do that.
It's a bit harder on this side purely because there's just less to tie it to. A couple of trees, but there's no really solid stonework.
And I can bless you with salt magic if you want.
Okay.
That's salt magic.
Yeah, I mean, salt, they can heal every ill and every sickness.
And
they can help you.
And Bliss is not wrong. It is tasty. I love salt. More than I probably should.
I'm just salty.
That's fair.
You get 1d4 on the roll.
Very nice.
Just toss a salt shaker to someone. Do better!
Well, that's how we cast Fireball.
I got 16.
16? Yeah, 15 was the difficulty. So you find a tree. None of the trees here are what I would describe as healthy looking. They're all kind of sickly and stunted. Most of them have lost their leaves, or the bark is cracked and sun-bleached. But you find one that you're reasonably confident is either alive still, or at least its roots go deep enough that it's not going to fall over anytime soon, and tie another reasonably secure knot to it. And so you have a 50-foot length of rope stretched taut as a guideline for people to hold, and in worst case scenario, something that might save a life. As I'm a huge fan of disclaiming decision making and stuff, one of you roll a d20. If it's a 1, the bridge collapses, and we'll figure out the ramifications of that.
I have rolled too well. I know that's not how chances nor statistics work, but I'm not gonna risk it anyway.
I already got a 1, so that can't happen again. Right?
What are the chances?
Is that how that works?
I got a 5.
Fantastic. What order are you telling people to cross in?
The young and the elderly first, I would say. We're going to disagree, right?
Not fully. However, okay, Beretta stands in front of Iris. Okay, I'm going to teach you something, okay? It's called strategy.
Okay.
So, if you send all the elderly and puppies first, if the bridge collapses, we have a split of relatively weak dogs here and relatively strong dogs there. You want to mix those, so if the bridge collapses, there's no one clear weaker group, so that they can still have a chance at survival in these two split groups.
So it's like you need to mix different salts for it to taste better.
Exactly, but Apparently, it's also important to keep families together. Whatever, sure. Apparently, they like that more.
We'll
All
draw a
right.
line there. I say we should try to get the horses and stuff over first, because that'll, if the rope wears out, we got the heavier stuff over first.
I would start with lighter stuff.
Yes, because your rope can snap from too much weight
Okay.
at once. If you have an elastic band, you can keep stretching it for a bit. You can cut like small things through, but once you snap it, it's gone.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, horses.
No, I get it.
One of the horses looks at you. What did I do?
Why is the long face?
You're too big.
Excuse me, it is? What did you say?
I don't know. It's just a joke that I heard, and I'm trying to fit in with you dogs.
Like, you know how dogs can like look at you, like look at that, and then like have the whites of their eyes show when they look sideways?
The side
I'm
eye.
I'm giving you the dog side eye.
Ooh, that's unnerving.
It's worse than
Oh, what
gunpowder
strange
panic.
people you are. I keep
It's
that to myself.
I think of all the dogs, I think Borzoi one of the most unnerving ones to begin with.
It's that stretched snoot. It's just wrong. Yeah, so families start crossing individually, and then as it becomes apparent that the bridge isn't going to give out immediately, at the very least, they cross with some more speed. The elderly do lean on family members and on the rope, and then the more physically able members come back to lead the horses carefully across. And it is as the horses are crossing, and it is only one at a time with the wagons, but that's a lot of weight. This is an old bridge, and a couple of these stones do fall from the edges of it, just from the vibrations of the horses' hooves and the cart wheels. But with your rope, everyone makes it across safely, and the bridge has stood the test of time thus far, and it continues to stand. However, it may not stand much longer. In the distance, you can still hear the muted roar of two demons fighting for primacy.
Do we have any way of is there any demon knowledge or something? Because I'm wondering if they fight each other, does that mean they'll fight each other out and they'll be gone?
That would be no Arcana, I believe.
I don't know nothing about that.
I have that skill.
Do you want to make an intellect check with the no Arcana, adding your experience bonus for the no Arcana skill?
I'll ask Iris, hey.
I could be persuaded with no history or religion as well, if you have either of those.
I rolled an 11.
11? At the current time, with the situation as it is, all that immediately springs to mind is you recall that storm demons are known to seek out others of their kind and fight. And that quite often the stories that are told of this within your culture focus more on the benefits of community strength and rebuilding and sharing the burden, rather than what happened to the demons afterwards.
Yeah. I think I start telling that story, Maya, and you quickly realize that I'm not going to give you any meaningful information.
Well,
the
they fight. Yeah, but are they gonna fight each other out? Well, let me explain. See, blah 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 blah. And I'm
what
just
matters is that look, we have this village here, and they are bonding together. It's making a community stronger. It's
No, go continue.
Yes, very, very good.
There's this one puppy that every time Iris has been in the village has just followed her around and is just enraptured by any lizard stories.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I want to be a lizard when I grow up.
Very much that kind of thing, yes. In fact,
Aw.
it looks like she has started deliberately rolling in mud and then trying to shape scales out of the dried mud in her fur.
No. What a goober. Well, okay, let's continue.
With everyone across the... Oh, do you take the rope back? Or do you leave it there for the return journey? You don't know, like, presumably this will not be... This is, at worst, an overnight thing. But...
Does anyone else have rope in their rucksack?
I don't.
Well, you can take it with you and then we'll just retie it. It's better than somebody coming along and being like, hey, yoink.
Yeah, and also if I relieve the tension of the rope, it should keep its structural integrity a bit more. So I go and untie it, and then if I have to roll for it, traverse, and then retrieve my rope fully and join the caravan again.
Yeah, I'm just checking something in the rules. Also, it turns out I did misremember. There are group checks. I did it wrong, but I did it in a fun way, in an equally fun way.
Yay.
Yeah.
And it all worked out.
Yep.
So there's something in first edition. I can't remember if it carried over to second edition or if I'm just misremembering. I'll check if we have a break. I was going to ask if you want to break soon anyway, or between sessions, just to keep things moving. But for now, I'm happy to say if anyone decides at any point that, oh, I totally have this piece of standard adventuring equipment, just, lower your coins by 1 step.
Okay.
And then I'll check the actual ruling before next session. So, you know that the ruins are about half a mile distant. You know that as it has taken a good few hours to get to this point, it's going to start getting dark. It's going to start getting cold. And you're going to be leading a group consisting of small children and elderly people through what, on your initial hurried exploration of this area, you thought might be barrows, which are burial mounds. And as you reach the kind of perimeter of the barrow field, for want of a better word, it is getting dark, and a couple of the children are plainly unsettled. They're not scared yet, but it's likely that if anything does happen to upset them, or if the situation continues as it is, there may be some trouble from that. The barrows themselves are mounds of earth about... with Josie and Alan being European, I'm assuming you're meters for distances?
Oh, it's fine.
It is not required. However, it would be very considerate.
No, that's fine. I ran D&D for a Dutch guy for about 2.5 years before I realized that feet is not what he's good with. So
That sounds... Please never say those words in that order again, Ryan. Thank you.
No, I will. Just for you. So yeah. They're about now I'm going to do maths in my head. About 8 meters long by 3 wide. And as I said, they're covered in grass. They're not terribly tall, so they're either like a surface grave or a cairn, or they're a roof over a hole in the ground.
Teletubby land.
Yeah, exactly. Just as a visual reference for you as we cross this barrow field, and ahead of you there's a the craggy sides of a mountain with the ruins almost squatting at the base of it, or at the base of the next ridge line at the very least. You know that the ruins are clustered around a very wide, slightly. I always get these the wrong way around. Concave that goes down, on U shape. Extremely, perhaps unnaturally flat surface that's got a covering of glass on it. But when you were here before, every now and then it sounded almost like ice as you walked on it, that slight cracking, creaking sound. And as you push through, as the sun disappears, the stars start shining in the infinite void of the night sky, and you can still hear. And if you look behind you in the distance, you can see the unnatural flashes of lightning still reaching from ground to sky as the demons continue to fight, and they're not as frequent now, and the noise has abated somewhat, as if the doors to hell are being closed and the damned souls are being shut within, but it's still there, and the villagers are acutely aware of this, and all of them are getting agitated. And then, of course, you are walking through what is upsetting for a small child, whose they don't necessarily realize where you are, but they recognize that the adults are upset, and that's what's feeding their anxiety. And then it's just a creepy scene. Do you want to do anything to try and allay their fears, or are you just gonna try and push through and get to the ruins before night falls fully?
Yeah, I have something to do.
Mhm.
So I have this spell Sacred Flame, which can make objects glow.
Mhm.
It's used mostly to deal damage, but it can also make any object glow. So what I'm going to do is take like a branch or something, make it shine, and give it to a child that's clearly afraid, so that they can hold it. And I tell them, it's all right, you see the light, the salt show you the way, there's no need to be afraid. And I'm going to stay with them because I have to cast the spell again every minute.
Okay, that's fine. It is, lest we forget, an at-will spell.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a fortune for that.
No, thanks.
So you're back up to 2. There is a maximum number of fortune. I think it's twice the number of players, something like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, if we reach that point, I'm being extremely generous. Oh, someone did actually botch earlier. Sorry, I forgot to add fortune for the botch. For the natural one.
So either you're being
Nice.
generous,
Oh,
or
wait.
we're just fucking up.
No, you re-rolled it. Never mind.
No,
Ignore
no.
that.
Yeah.
Nine.
Can I delete that message? I can. It's gone. Fortune 2. Yes. So the child, you up close, Iris, you can see that the child is trembling. You're not sure if it's from the cold or anxiety, fear, whatever it is, but they are unsettled. But your presence and the soft, what color is the light you have summoned?
Something like white or very light gray.
Cool.
Almost silvery.
So the soft silvery light, which acts as a terrestrial counterpart to the stars above, does bring a measure of serenity to this child. And while they're still upset and their eyes are still wide and darting, they're moving. Their tail is moving ever so slightly with like quick agitated wags, and they are panting slightly. They're not panicking, and you don't think they're going to panic. And that kind of aura of reassurance does spread to the children and other villagers nearby until kind of everyone in the immediate vicinity is just following the star that you're carrying. And they're looking at you more than the whatever it is you're walking through, as a soft fog starts to, rise from the damp grass.
Nice.
Salt magic.
Exactly.
I can just imagine you rubbing a stick with salt every now and then, like just like keeping it in like stasis, almost like drying it out.
Just
No.
get distracted at that minute duration. Oh, I'm so sorry. Rub some more salt on the stick. By the time you reach the ruins, everyone is, I don't speak for you, but all of the villagers are tired, with the exception of one or two. Like there's a difference between long distance hiking and working in the fields all day. It's different muscle groups. So while most of these villagers are not unfamiliar with manual labor and physical exertion, few of them are hunters or trackers or just hikers, and they are flagging. They're tired. The horses, as horses are in this instance, are tireless. This is kind of what they were bred to do. They could go for hours still, but you have reached the ruins, and there's an almost palpable sense of relief from the villagers. Some of them stand taller. The children get slightly more excited. The old folk are less excited or relieved, but they start kind of talking about it'll be good to sit down, or that building over there looks like it'll be a safe space to spend the night. The ruin itself is a collection of one, maybe two-story buildings made of a strange smooth stone that has no... there are no joints. It's just one long sheet of stone almost. None of you recognize the material, and it is, it's covered in lichen, it's weather stained. There are places where holes have crumbled in it, and you can see just the ribs of the building protruding as rusted spars of metal. But they have doors, they have glass windows. They should, theoretically at least, provide sanctuary for the night. We're about an hour and a half in. Would you like a short break? Fantastic. Would you like to come back in about 5 minutes, about 9:05 or 10 for the Europeans and the group in the audience? We will probably not be playing much longer than that. Just felt like this was a good time for a break. Fantastic. I will send us over to the post roll, and hopefully folk in chat, or mid roll, I guess. Hopefully folks in chat stick around. We're back. We left off as our intrepid party of heroes, adventurers, pioneers, one you might even call them, escorted a village to a ruined, series of ruins on a mountainside. The villagers quickly spread out and erect what shelters they can with what they've brought with them. Fortunately, it's a reasonably temperate climate, and these are people used to working outdoors, so they have tents. They have the means to make bivouacs, and they do use the buildings because it's a free roof and walls. But you notice that families kind of cluster together, and then in like semicircles with a communal area in the middle, where the kids are just kind of playing and the old folks are chatting as everyone else is setting up shelters. And the wind isn't strong here. It's more of it's not quite a breeze. It's slightly stronger than a breeze, but you wouldn't call it a wind. But this, every now and then, kind of beneath that constant low, it's almost as if you can hear footsteps. And at first it's difficult to pinpoint what exactly is odd about them. Like, yeah, sure, it's strange that you're hearing footsteps and on the surface that no one's walking on, right? But it's probably Maya who realizes first. They're echoing, and they're beneath you. But there's no holes in the ground. Just this odd, concave, perfectly level surface between this almost U-shape of ruined buildings. Well, it is a U-shape of ruined buildings. The villagers have left their horses kind of in the middle, just for ease, like staked them out so they can't wander in the night. And then the carts themselves are up against the edges of the buildings where they couldn't easily get their supplies and shelter, camping equipment and things of that nature. As the villagers settle in, as night fully falls, are you setting watch, or are you just going to get a sleep as well? That's a game term, just so that we're on the same page.
Yeah, I think we should watch. I will anyway.
Anyone else?
We
So
want
will
to do
I.
shifts.
Yeah. I don't know how we're exactly going to do this. If we want to maximize sleep, we could do, depending on how long we want to stay here, a watching shift of 3 hours. I'll take the middle shift. I'm used to keeping sentry. One of you can take the early and one of you can take the late one, so you have 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep.
Oh, sorry, it's a nap.
A 6-hour nap sounds grand, honestly. I wish.
Can we enlist your friend from the military? Maybe they are. Maybe they know also how to stand watch.
Well, I hope she does. Otherwise, something went horribly wrong. And I am going to ask her to, I guess, then split up the shifts in 4.
Yep.
If you do that in 8 hours, that is 2 hours each. Me and my military friend will take the middle shifts, so the ones that are not as much used to taking sentry, I think, can have the most uninterrupted sleep.
Okay. So who would be in the third watch then?
So if we start with Maya, then so that she can then sleep the late hours, but the early one.
Mhm.
I
Sure.
guess then my friend could take over, then me, and then it is just gets up 2 hours before everyone else.
Yeah, works for
Okay.
me.
Okay.
So, Beretta.
Strategy.
um, the night has stretched interminably long by this point. What a great word to say. It's dark, it's cold, and throughout the first hour or so of your watch, you are left with little but your thoughts within and the night without. And then, from beneath you, something loud. Silence follows.
I check if I have any ammo in my normally loaded gun and go investigate.
Okay. Let's go with there is a search skill. Are you proficient in it? Do you have it on your character sheet as a marker?
No, but I have something else.
Okay.
What I would like to use is sneak to
Yep.
try and investigate it without being investigated myself.
Yep. That's fine. Go ahead and make that agility check and add your experience bonus.
Oh yeah, +5. That's 21. I am going to roll several ones, like in a row at a certain point. I deserve it.
You moving quieter than starlight itself over this strange expanse. You get to kind of above roughly where you think the sound was. You can't see anything. The buildings, surround you on the ruins surround you on three sides, and then the way that you approach just kind of rolls gently down away from you.
Hmm. On one hand, I don't want to wake the others up without having to. I don't want it to turn out to be like nothing.
Mm-hmm. One of the
On the
horse,
other hand,
one of the horses is awake and just watching you, ears twitching
uh,
slightly.
I do want to like pull the rest of the party in it because this is a group playing game after all.
It's up to you.
I don't like making choices.
For what it's worth, there's no more sound, as far as you can tell.
What was the sound? Nothing
It's just
there.
like a short, sharp crack.
There are many logical reasons for a short, sharp crack to happen in ruins. I eyeball the horse with the most borzoi look I can muster.
And
It's like the
in that very placid way that really only horses have mastered, it eyeballs you back with one eye.
like the side eye.
It wickers and bends down to crop at the grass.
Yeah, I wish my snacks grew on the floor. Um, and I go back to my sentry position.
Okay, nothing happens for the rest of the night. As you are not in a proper bed, let's say, I do need you all to make a vitality test. It is difficulty 10. You should have rations in your rucksack. If you
Yes.
fail, you can expend a ration to reroll.
A vitality, okay.
If
I
vitality is one of your marked attributes, you have a boon on the roll.
yes. Good.
I do have a bedroll in my rucksack. I assume you guys do too.
I don't.
I do not have one in my rucksack noted. I think my bedroll got replaced by a blunderbuss.
That's a 9 for me.
I got a 10.
That is a 15.
Okay. Iris, do you want to expend a ration to reroll? Basically, so in Realms of Pugmire, when you sleep outdoors, in the wilderness specifically, you have to make this test. If you fail, if you've lost any stamina points, you only regain half of your stamina points, and you gain the exhausted condition. So you're at full stamina, but you're still going to have the exhausted condition just from not getting as good a night's sleep. You move at half your normal speed, and all of your checks are made with a hindrance.
I'm gonna eat a ration because being exhausted seems tough.
Mm-hmm. So, yep.
So I reroll, right?
Yep, you reroll. I'm going to roll for the villagers to see how their night goes. On that.
19! Yeah.
Hell yeah, you're not exhausted.
Yeah.
Neither are the villagers, surprisingly.
Oh, this is truly like a fantasy game, not being exhausted.
I know. Wouldn't be me. So you wake, as the sun rises, and the village. These are people who are used to being up with the sun to start work in the fields. They naturally wake early, and you can hear the children talking and excitedly whispering and giggling to each other at the novelty of having spent a night in a ruin, and they're probably going to tell ghost stories about this place once it is a memory at a safe distance. At some point, Whiskers appeared in front of Alan. At some point in the later hours of Iris's watch, the battle between the storm demons finally ended. The lightning had been flashing on and off. The periods between bolts lengthening throughout the night until just before dawn, everything fell silent, and you could see in the soft glow of the rising sun just a black pall over the area where the village would be, or village was perhaps, and a single but huge dust cloud moving off.
Single but huge.
Yes.
They merged.
Does it move towards us?
No, it's not moving towards you.
Woof.
Going straight towards Pugmire.
Maybe. But equally, it might just die is the wrong word, but it might stop existing by the time it gets there. It will stop existing the moment it leaves this story, which is now.
Yay!
And a couple of the more able-bodied villagers set to work getting cooking equipment off the carts and setting up stuff for breakfast, and several of them come over to the horses and start making sure that they're fine. At this point, I need to know where the three of you are. So, recap of where potential places to be. In the middle of this area is this perfectly flat, in terms of there's no irregularity on the surface, concave grassy sward that shifts and creaks like ice occasionally. Three sides of that are 1 or 2 story ruined buildings of this strange, either monolithic stone or just extremely large slabs of stone. There is a ridgeline behind it where the fog is kind of currently pouring off of to fill this area, and then the empty gap where there's no ruins is the route that you took to get here.
I'm probably on the outskirts, probably near the road where we came from. I'm just keeping an eye on it, and also to be away from other people because other people are spooky.
That's a whole mood in and of itself right there.
I'm probably somewhere where there is a ray of sun so that I can do my morning prayers.
Okay. Probably anywhere in this vast grassy sward then, because there's nothing to block the sun apart from the ridge line. You could be on top of the ridge, to be fair, if you wanted to. If you
Oh,
prefer.
no, it's a long hike, and
Okay,
I don't want to go too far away.
that's fair. And Barota?
I think sitting next to the exact same horse again because I want to win the second round of the staring competition.
Okay, that's fair. Make a vitality test.
You're kidding me. Sure, why not? I have a check mark next to that, so I add.
You have a boon on the roll.
Yes, that. I rolled 2 17s plus 1, that's an 18.
Fantastic.
I don't know. I should.
I rolled a 7. You win the staring contest with the horse, but as it's a horse, it doesn't care, nor really realise that the contest was happening. However, it does mean that you are in the perfect position to observe what happens next. As this group of villagers tends to the horses, one of them reaches to the stake that they hammered into the ground and tied all the horses to and pulls it out. There is a small sound of surprise and a hole, and then the ground beneath you shakes. There's the sound of ice cracking, and almost in slow motion, where the stake was kind of in the middle of the horses, the grassy sward just starts collapsing inwards slowly and then faster, small chunks and then bigger chunks of grass and whatever surface this is on top of collapsing inwards. You have a split second to react. What do you do as the ground beneath you starts to shift and fall in?
Okay, I need to do positioning on this. Tactical brain. I have the spatial awareness of a goldfish in real life, so this
That's
is
fine. I don't have a mind's eye, so this is all very tricky for me.
So how many horses, how many people in the direct zone of this, I guess?
15 families would be, let's say, 5 horses that they managed to get. So 5 horses in the direct center of what is rapidly becoming a sinkhole, yes. So the horses are at the epicenter with, let's say, 3 villagers mixed in amongst them. You are about a meter away.
Okay, there is absolutely no way. The thing is, giving a verbal command, you need to understand the command needs to go to a certain part of your brain. If I just shoot my blunderbuss in the air, people will disperse. And I can explain later.
Yes.
I go to the middle as much as possible, so when I do send the people away with the shot, they disperse away from the epicenter.
Well, the middle is collapsing right now, so getting as close to it as you can is basically where you are.
Yeah, I fire my blunderbuss in the air.
Okay.
And also yell move at the same time.
Okay, so I need Iris and Maya to make a difficulty 15 presence test, I think it is.
But with a boon?
With a boon, because you're used to it. I'll just double check yes, difficulty 15 present test. I will roll for the horses as one group, and then all of the villagers as the other one. Both fail. So that's
Isn't that kind of what I wanted?
Yes, it is. It is. But I was just rolling to see if they didn't. So what did you get, Iris and Maya?
14.
17.
Okay. So.
I'm sorry, it is.
The
Fine.
Flat, thunderous crack of a flintlock is nothing compared to the deep, rib-shaking boom of a blunderbuss.
No.
Iris, this is a moment in time where, because, correct me if I'm wrong, you took chameleon instead of the tail thing?
It's by default chameleon.
Cool. So this is a moment in time where you wish you had that genetic quirk that would allow you to drop your tail and flee at a moment's notice.
Yes.
You are deaf and scared until you lose sorry. You're deaf and scared until you pass another presence test. at the beginning of your next turn, as we're not in combat. It's just, when I say it is. Maya, you hear that same rib shaking boom, and you know the sound. You've been around Beretta enough to know that she's discharged her blunderbuss for some purpose. You can have the presence of mind to look around to see what's happening in this grassy sward. Iris, every thought, every iota of your being is screaming, run away from that sound.
Well,
Not helped by the panicked mob of villagers also doing that.
yeah, running is good. Let's do that.
Okay.
I am so sorry.
So what I need is, because Beretta is at the epicenter, unfortunately, there's no way of escaping the sinkhole. You're going into it. Iris, you can make an agility test to essentially just run away fast enough, or a traverse check. It's up to you.
I don't have traverse, so that's going to be agility.
Okay.
And that's a 22.
Okay. You book it, just adrenaline fueling every twitch fiber in your legs, sprinting away from this collapsing surface. Maya, as you noticed and are not panicked, I give you the choice. Do you want to willingly go in after Beretta to whatever is beneath you, or do you want to try to get away from the collapsing surface to safety?
I'm going in after Beretta. Like, oh crap. Geez. No, I'll just run towards it. Look down before I jump in. But
Yeah.
Maybe hang a rope before, I don't know.
No roll required because you're running into it. The sinkhole, time snaps back. The sinkhole collapses rapidly outwards, and it's not a perfect circle. It is sharp. It is jagged. It is what happens when ice shatters and falls in bits and pieces, or as I experienced at Christmas, a window above me, and a conservatory. And the sound as what you realize, Maya, as you're... So the way I'm passing this, correct me if I'm wrong, Beretta's more focused on making sure that everyone else is safe and getting away from this. And kind of using those last few moments to look around and make sure that, save for the poor unfortunate souls who are closer to the hole, you've been successful. So you don't realize until you're far enough down that you can look up. But this, Maya, you see as you sprint towards the hole, you see the different strata of the ground here, and there is a thick layer of, looks like ice in the early morning sun, beneath the grass and soil that you spend the night camped on, the horses spend the night on. And then you realize it's not ice. It's not cold enough to be ice. Even those places, ruins of man, where ice existed outside of its natural habitat, there was machinery, there was magic, there was something to produce it and to keep it cold. And there's always vapor, there was always a chill in the air. This must be a window on the scale of something you cannot even comprehend. And it is shattering beneath you, and that is when you fall in as well.
1 second, I just gotta answer the door.
Sure thing. So we'll pan the camera, the imaginary camera, to Iris. You have managed to get to safety, kind of huddling around the base of the... Well, would you have run for the ridge, which is solid rock, or would you have run back the way you came the last night to the path? The ridge line is closer.
Yeah, I think I would have gone to the ridge line.
Okay, so you get to safety. Pretty much all of the villagers are just clinging to the rock of the ridgeline for essentially their lives. If you wish, you can make that presence test to try and end the scared and deaf conditions on yourself.
Yeah, I need to do that. Because it's not fun to be scared.
It is not.
And I'm going to have word with Beretta later. 2!
There's 2 fortune in the pool if you want to use it. Sorry, there's 3. I'm going to award Maya a fortune for running headlong into this problem.
Also, you do have a boon on
Oh yeah, that's true.
my gun specifically.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. You
Well,
do.
that's a 1, so is it okay if I use 1 fortune to reroll that?
Yes.
If I reroll, do I reroll with a boon or?
No, I would double check, but I'm pretty sure it's you reroll one of the d20s. Reroll any 1 die.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not the same as having a boon on a roll.
14.
14. Unfortunately, not enough. So you are swept in the communal panic of the villagers, and you don't like that rational part of your brain realizes that Beretta and Maya are not with you, that you've left them behind. The people that you've been telling your story with have fallen out of your story.
Yeah.
The less rational part of your brain, ironically, we'd call it the lizard brain,
Yes.
is focused on survival. And right now, this solid rock is life. It is safety and security. And the people around you, they will need guidance. They will need hope. And they will need healing once you have mastered yourself.
Yeah.
Before we pan the camera back into the hole, is there anything you would like to do?
Honestly, I'm so stupid. I think that one of my reflex would be to sprinkle salt in the air to try to summon some alchemist magic to protect myself and the others from the panic rising.
Okay.
Essentially casting bless
Mhm.
on myself and the closest people near me, I think.
Okay.
Dogs near me.
I would just double check something. Please bear with me 1 second.
Yeah.
Yep. Bless does apply to tests, so if you want to try that presence test again, Bless will apply to it.
Yes.
And I will roll for the villagers. There's no point rolling for the horses because they were all together.
Yes. So should I do the roll now or do we do it later?
You can do it now.
Okay. That's 9. It's
With
all
the
right, you know.
boon?
I will continue to do that until it's
Okay. Eventually you'll succeed. The laws of averages say
yes.
eventually you'll succeed.
Look,
I may
I would
spend all my reserves of salt on that, but it's fine.
Look, I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not.
Yeah, I know you are not. It's fine.
So the last thing that we'll see of Iris in the session, because I'm feeling it's time to start ending the session, just based on time and I'm tired, is Iris drawing strength from the community around her. Thanks to your magic, maybe even just your presence and the reassuring solidity of the rock face, the villagers are calming, and you draw strength from that to calm yourself rather than acting as a linchpin for their confidence.
Nice.
I need a vitality test from Maya and Beretta, please and thank you.
What do you mean? That comes out of the blue. Oh no.
As you are falling quite some way. Actually, there are specific falling rules. Yeah, no, we're all good.
Let's see if I have anything that could help me with this. I have a skill called falling.
I just got a 1.
Oh, cool. Well, that adds to the fortune pool. So you back up to fortune
Yay.
3.
I can't intimidate the floor into not hurting me.
No, you the floor amazingly is stationary, and does not give in the face of your intimidation.
I roll with a boom because I have a check mark next to vitality. Correct.
Yep.
That is somehow a 17.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna roll 3d6.
Ow.
That is a shockingly low roll. 6 points of blunt damage.
Oof.
However, for purposes of narrative, you are unconscious. You aren't reduced to 0 hit points. You're just knocked out cold by the impact of essentially diving headfirst into a hole that you had no idea how deep it was.
Yep. I'll save you. I'm a hero.
Mm-hmm.
In my dreams that I'm having while I'm unconscious.
Just one.
I like your energy,
touch
Maya.
Yeah.
Only the energy.
Beretta, the impact is solid, and you hear more of. And as you're falling, you also notice that there's this massive window essentially beneath the grass and topsoil, supported by a delicate lattice work of metallic struts that have just worn over time and rusted through and given out. As you slam into the ground, you are knocked unconscious briefly. You come to almost immediately, and you can hear the horses crying out pain. You can hear the villagers. I should probably roll for them, actually. Where's my other d20? And my teeny tiny d20. Okay. You hear two groans, and one of them is unmoving. And around you, you see this cracked, tiled surface just stretching out into impenetrable gloom. The only light you have right now is what is coming in through the hole that you fell through. And it's big. Most of the area between the ruins has fallen in, and the shards of glass at the edges that are still falling are easily big enough to bisect you. So perhaps it's better that you were here near the center. And you can just make out at the very edge of the light a figure moving. Odd, jerky, almost like a wave. Backwards, forwards. Hello? And that's where we'll finish.
Bum.
So,
Nice.
if you have enjoyed watching, one, please do thank my players for a fantastic time. I've had a blast. I hope they have had too. Two, if you are watching this and the campaign is still active, backerkit.com/loads of text will take you to. There's a link in the Twitch chat for the YouTube audience. We'll take you to the Backerkit campaign that's currently ongoing for Pugmire Unleashed, an expansion for the Realms of Pugmire from Onyx Path Publishing. We'll go in alphabetical order again. Alan, if you'd introduce yourself and your character, please and thank you.
Yes, so I'm Alain. I've written a lot of community content on the Scarlation Vault for Scarlands and Canis Minor for Pugmire. My character is Iris. She is a lizard alkalist, which is a species and a class that you can find in the Pugmire Unleashed book.
And it's going to be fun.
It is fun.
Bliss, please and thank you.
I am Bliss. I pretty much only do these actual plays on the Onyx Path channel these days. And I have been playing Maya Pyrenees She is very sore and unconscious, Great Pyrenees hunter dog. And we'll find out if she survives next time.
Yeah, we will. And Josie.
Hi, I am Josie, and I have played Beretta, and I had a blast, as you said. I have to end with a pun. And we'll see how much of a concussion my poor little Borzoi has.
And I'm Ryan, I'm the guide. I'm also a contributing writer to Pugmire Unleashed. So please do spend money on it and emotionally validate just the hard work that we all put into it. And we should be back next week, starting around the same time, probably running for about the same length, because 2 hours is a good time length for online sessions, I found. Also, with respect to two of my players being in Central European time, it's late. Hella late.
3,
3?
if Ren joins.
Oh, if Ren joins, obviously, yes. Two of my current players. If Ren is being a good dog with us next week, obviously, then there'll be 3 people in Central European time. But we'll pick up next week from starting around the same time on Thursday afternoon. I think it's 2:30 Eastern, 7:30 BST, and 8:30 CET, something like that. Where the players will be investigating the titular empty halls themselves. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Please do stay safe. Please do stay healthy. Please do stay wholesome. Goodbye.
Oh.